Ink in the Lines is a very special exhibition. It's something a bit new for the War Memorial. The Australian military has a long tradition, or official or unofficial, of tattoos, and we decided it was time to have a look at that. We put a call out to the public asking for veterans with tattoos to submit a story to us and a photograph of their tattoo. We really found ourselves invited into people's lives. Veterans who very generously shared highly personal stories, raw stories, sad, funny, touching stories. We've created identity and belonging as a theme in this exhibition because it's such an important part of what veterans want to express, and it's a way to start a conversation that many veterans want to have. They'd like to tell you about their experiences. We all need to express a sense of self and of belonging to a community. The ADF is a very big community, and a lot of people are proud of that sense of belonging. The tattoo symbolises their pride. This is Miles. I'd like to introduce you to him. As you can see from his big smile, Miles has a big personality to go with it, and his tattoo clearly proclaims his identity as a veteran of Rwanda. Up the top we have Aussie Peacekeeper, the flags of Australia and Rwanda, a traditional African shield, and the word Miryango, which is Rwandan for family. During his time in Rwanda, he felt a very strong connection to the Rwandan people, and he has been back to Rwanda. And when Rwandan people see the flag of Rwanda and a word that is of their own language, they will stop and ask him, who is he? Why does he have Rwandan word and flag on his arm? Down here we have the words Unimir 2, the operation that Miles deployed to in Rwanda. And those are the dates of his deployment, August 94 to February 95. This tattoo is also belonging to Miles, and it speaks to his identity as a member of the Transport Corps in the Australian Army at that time. As Miles will tell you, and you can see by the muscles, this is a fighting kangaroo, synonymous with Australians. The kangaroo is a soldier. He's wearing a traditional starch hat, and the kangaroo has his own tattoo. The tattoo says 652, referring to the number of Australians who deployed to Rwanda. This Latin slogan here is the motto of Miles's corps in the army. Miles is no longer serving. He's had time to absorb and process and reflect back on his memories of deployment to Rwanda in the mid-90s, and to some extent to recover from what was for many Australians a very challenging, if not traumatic, deployment. We've dedicated an area of this exhibition to mateship and family. A lot of veterans that we spoke to expressed the importance of mateship in their lives and of family in their lives, and quite often the two are indistinguishable. I'd like to introduce you now to Sean, a veteran of Timor, and Sean's tattoos. Sean had, like many veterans, positive memories out of his deployment and some not so positive ones. A positive memory is this tattoo here on his elbow, which is based on a photograph he took of a warm moment meeting some East Timorese locals and children, and they were standing against the side of a house with this word in the Timorese language, Bonica Australia, welcome Australians. Sean told us that his tattoos are deliberately, thickly and densely applied because, as he says, war is not sterile, it's not clean, it's like a fog. That's why they call it the fog of war. I wanted tattoos that would really give people the feeling of the fog of war. You have to look really, really closely to see what is there. You have to get quite close up. Miles and Sean trained together in the army, but they went off to different deployments. They shared a strong friendship early on. They lost contact with each other. They reconnected through the Veterans Network. I think that their friendship is a great example of the way veterans support each other, and that wider sense of community, of mateship. Everyone's experiences are different, but they're all family.
Kevin's story here is one of, to me, life after service, and how he found support and how he learned the coping mechanisms to deal with life after service. He came across as a leader of men, and I think this can be seen through the fear is a reaction, courage is a decision. He was very tough and very strong on the outside. The close-up portrait shows a real vulnerability. These interviews happened first and the subjects poured out their life story, and then I jumped in front of them with a camera. So we do get some raw emotions in these photographs, but the one of Kev here resonated with me the most. Behind the tattoo here is the flames of Dilly burning, and you can see Kev also getting a tattoo here that represents his service and his deployment over there. Kev and Tina's story was quite beautiful. Kev, in the interviews, kept looking over to Tina for support, and you could see they shared a really strong bond and were able to help each other in life after service.
These are all real stories from real people and very raw stories. We're in the area of loss, grief, commemoration, where all of these people are wearing their hearts on their sleeves. People like Adam, who has his fallen mate Davey, his grandfather, the poppies, the soldier's boots, and of course his own dog tags. These are all very, very powerful stories and stories that need to be told. It's been an honour for us being allowed into their homes and for them to share these stories with us.
We're now in the part of the exhibition that talks about the healing part of life and of the process of being tattooed. A lot of veterans get tattoos as a reflection of the healing process through which they've been after a challenging, difficult time in their lives, or just a process of transformation. I'd like to introduce you to Elaine. Like several of our other veterans, Elaine is a veteran of East Timor, and she is a very big personality. Elaine shared with us some of her experiences in Timor. During her interview, she pointed to us her favourite photo in the world, which is of her on the back of a motorbike being chased by local children. It was a highlight of her deployment. Elaine's tattoo is a very beautiful collection of shapes and designs. The mandalas are for peace and a breath of fresh air, as she put it. The snake tattoo represents the shedding of the skin, which again is reflective of moving on, of renewal. She visited Kokoda, where there are 4 pillars representing the qualities of courage, endurance, mateship and sacrifice. Obviously these are qualities that she holds dear to her heart as a veteran and as an individual.
You can see Kylie here behind me. We interviewed Kylie out on her property, and it was quite an emotional experience for everybody involved. She talked very candidly about her PTSD and how the tattoos, especially this one, where we have courage, love, wisdom and strength tattooed into her bones, so they're a part of her now. And they're in a highly accessible spot for her to be able to look at that and to relive that mantra when she needs to reaffirm what is really important to her. We've also got the tattoos of her medals on the back of her leg. This is to represent that she's moved on, that this was part of her recovery, was to talk about her service, understand it and to move through it. She gave, I think, one of the most poignant quotes that I heard in our time on the road, and that was that she stopped existing and she started to live. And she repeated this over a few times, and you could see that she'd moved through a rather tricky part in her life after service, and that these tattoos really aided her in that process.
We really hope that when people come to this exhibition, they will come away with a sense that veterans are people too, that tattoos are not just a fad, but something that can be deliberately chosen as a way to express memories, hopes, aspirations and stories. Not all stories are written in books, but inscribed on the skin.